Hello everybody and welcome to episode 11 of my advanced tutorial series for Dwarf Fortress. In this Let's Play series I am going to build a nice and tidy fortress with you folks and explain everything in between. So if you're new to the series, check out the playlist link down there leading you to the beginning of the series. For today, well, we're going to go for the setup of a hospital because I noticed that we have no chief medical dwarf here, and in the last episode we've opened up the caverns. The moment we have that, we have probably wounded people, and therefore it could be a great idea to do something about that. So if the time is going to be sufficient for this episode, I'm also going to set up a library in the paper industry, because these things go quite quickly. Now then, so since this is a Let's Play series, that means there will be always things sidetracking us, because, you know, there is always something that can come up here. So let's finish a bit of a wall building here that I forgot in the end of the last episode, and this is going to be our barracks to be, but for now that ain't important. For now we are looking for a place to set up our hospital. I just wanted to finish that thing. Now, the hospital is where we're going to bring our wounded dwarves. Therefore, I think this junction area looks like a pretty good shot for me. We got a close vicinity to the city district. We got a nice vicinity to the mines, and therefore not too far away for the military. I think this might be a great spot to do our thing, doesn't it? So we're going to carve out our hospital now in that direction here. Whoops. Let's make that really important. So I'm going to use one setup for hospitals that I personally can totally recommend here. The way you do it is up to you, but the system here, it's about the system that I'm using. So this is just design things that I'm doing here. Alrighty, so it'll all make sense in a second. What's the crown? Yeah, we got a export forbidding mandate. That's pretty harmless. That only means that we are not allowed to export any flasks anymore. I think we can live through that. So while this is being dug out, we ought to wait. I'm going to smooth out a bit of that area here, you know. So go. Tell you what, we're going to do this like that, a little bit larger. There's so much gemstone here, I have a bad feeling. Nah, I can't. Now, we're going to keep it like that. Technically, it would be smarter to just excavate the gemstone and not have it like that, but you get the idea. So, for a hospital, you need beds, tables, and traction benches. We're going to put the beds into these little alcoves that I brought up here. It'll all make sense in a minute. So these little alcoves that you see will be our hospital rooms. I'm putting it up down like that out of a simple reason. So often in life in Dwarf Fortress, it is just paying off if you make your systems sealable. And this system allows you to lock the door behind a hospitalized patient that is going to make problems. So we're going to do like that, slapping a table behind these, because sometimes they need a table for the operations. And now we go to the mechanics workshop. Mechanic, where art thou? I think I had him there. And we're making us some traction benches. These are required for bone fractures. So, got the basics down quite well. Let's just make sure that this entire cluster here sees some smoothing, so just so that it looks a little bit nicer, you know. And then the next thing we gotta do is assign ourselves some chief medical dwarf. So this is just like with a manager, a position that needs to be filled, so you can have a hospital setup. It doesn't do anything in terms of personnel for the hospital though. Don't get this wrong. So we're assigning somebody here, and this gives us now the ability to configure a hospital. We're going to make this a hospital now by drawing a meeting area on top of that. I don't want these though. And we're going to define that now as a new hospital. There's like that. The houses of working have been found. So now you can go for like this. If you don't have a chief medical dwarf, you cannot configure the screen here. It's blank then. So as you see, we have beds, we have tables, we don't have traction benches yet, and the chest is required as well for the storage of all the medical things that are required. So let's see what my strange mooded dwarf is muttering. Do we have an issue with metal bars? Nah, we have plenty. So that ain't the problem. Gems shining. Stone rock. So, well, he ain't running around with cut gems, but, you know, that can't be the issue either. So, sometimes they are really, really a little bit, bars, metal, tree, life. So basically here, rough color. So that's a chiffre for uncut gems. I have the vague feeling as if this could be an issue. Yeah, we only seem to have ready cut stones. Yeah, there we go. That's the problem. So I hope at least. We'll see about that. I mean, there is enough rough gemstone here, though. But yeah, it's already claimed. So there is a good chance that the moment that these things get, well, let's see. So our spear dwarf is fighting a giant bat, and as you see here, this guy is none of our soldiers. He's one of the monster slayers. There we go. A little bit at a loss here. It should actually work. Got everything around there. Well, let's see if this is still like that in a hot minute. Because I'm a little bit surprised here. So I took a little break in between to check out what is happening here, and I was going for a little bit of a research, and I'm a little bit at a loss because officially we got all the materials that this little guy actually is supposed to have. What's weird here is that gems shining is a chiffre for cut gems. We do have lots of cut gems here, so in all honesty, I don't quite understand what's the matter here. I really don't. So we're going to leave it like that. I'm very sorry for that little bugger here. But we're going to continue with our actual topic. Sometimes I got the issue with these moody dwarves that I feel like I got everything they require, and it still doesn't work. I'm not sure if this is a bug or not. Feel free to leave me a note if you know. We're going to get back to the topic here and back to that. So with the chest here, there you see we got here thread, cloth, splints, crutches, cast for powders, buckets, and soap. So we will require especially them buckets. So let's get there. Buckets are extremely important because there is one weirdness when it comes down to hospitalized dwarves. They aren't drinking any booze when they are hospitalized. They are only drinking water. I don't know why that is so, but I only know that it is so. So therefore, when you have people hospitalized in the hospital, you will require buckets and also a source of water. But before we get there, let's assign the doctors and everything. These resources will get hauled in here pretty much automatically. Now we're setting up the people. So we can assign our chief medical dwarf in the rank of the doctor. And as you see here, I have no qualified dwarves here, but which is pretty bad. But the most important part is that you have somebody on every position there, and most importantly, diagnosticians. It pays off to have more than one of these, because these are, as a matter of fact, the people that are, well, how to put it, if there is no diagnostician, nobody will do the operations. So without a diagnosis, the doctor won't work. So it pays off to have one more of these. So let's check out the health tab. We have our first patient in here. So let's see. As you see there, now diagnosis required, crush required, ability to stand lost. We don't know much about it, but a doctor will now see for her. Ah, brilliant. Look at that. So now we can check out the... Wait a sec. So let's see. Left knee muscle torn open. And as you see here, we're now seeing the medical system in full motion, but we ain't done yet. So really important now is that we're going on over into the labor menu and assign some orderlies. Orderlies are the people that haul wounded people from the battlefield and put them to a bed, but they are also the people that bring some water to the wounded. So all in all, if you don't assign orderlies, your people will die from dehydration, so have plenty of them. But also we got another problem here. We ain't got access to much water. We only have that here, and this is, well, it's murky, stagnant water, so it ain't the best source of water. But for now, it'll do. We're going to help ourselves to a cistern next, but one thing at a time. Let's complete that hospital first, shall we? So let's check back to what we got here. This is all nice and dandy. The only things that are missing now are a couple of buckets. I put up a work order for that, and we don't have soap. So let's get upstairs and set up a couple of things that we require for that. First off, we will require a kern or a millstone, but we didn't cover power yet, so we're going to do a hand powered thing. So as you see, we cannot build the kern. That's because we will make one first. So here we go. That's the building part that you require. So we are going to require more than just a kern though. We're also going to require a soap maker's workshop. We need buckets, so let's see. The bucket job isn't assigned yet. Yeah, I'm pretty much at a loss what's wrong with this fella, because, you know, we got all the materials he's asking for. I really don't quite understand it. We got metal, we got stone, we got rough gemstones. Well, we haven't had rough gemstones a moment ago, but I did cut some. So, yeah, feel free to enlighten me what went wrong there. Because this is one thing, even after studying all the things that I did, sometimes I see them still dying and I don't know why. So, my dwarf necromancer here, by the way, is just standing still here, and she's not going back to her burrow. So if that happens to you, we had her assigned in the last episode, I'm pausing the burrow now for her to make sure that she's going to go for her whatever. That meeting is extremely important, as it seems. She's not able to get back into her room without that. Anyways, she's now talking to the mayor. I don't mind. We are going to see if she's going to walk back to her burrow now after attending to the meeting. I'm unpausing the burrow now, and we're going to check on that later. So, let's get back to the hospital. Here. Yeah, so we got that. Now, off to the soap maker's thing. So now finally the buckets are being made. Wonderful. We're going to make ourselves a screw press now, because that's also majestically important. And we're going to hopefully setting up the kern. Yes, brilliant. Okay, so we getting there. Another monster hunter? Yeah, why not? So we're going to require for the soap also an ashery and obviously, oh, gremlin. Damn. So yeah, the ashery. Yeah, well, we got to one thing at a time. So gremlin isn't terribly dangerous all by its own. It's just a creature that's flicking switches and is trap immune. Brilliant, isn't it? So yeah, when we can, we should get them. We should get them down and kill them off. Anyways, now let's hope that those buckets are being made in a moment, so we can continue. Jeez, what am I? What are you guys doing here? So turns out I really don't know what the hell we should do with that little fella here. Sorry about that. So, Yeah, if that ever happens to you, you know, it is not that terrible. I want to emphasize here one more time, dwarves are replaceable in this game. Unless it's one super legendary person, and 90% of the time, you know, you are okay with the person dying away in that scenario. Don't go nuts if you have any troubles with that. I personally am much happier since I stopped breaking sweat too much when things seem to be unfulfillable. This one is a special one, though. It hasn't happened to me since a long time that I had these problems, so feel free to enlighten me. Okay, so let's see. Are those buckets now finally there? Yeah, so the ashery needs a barrel and a bucket, and the soap maker's workshop also needs a bucket. There we go. So we're going to make us some soap for a, well, let's put it down like a one-time usage, you know? No, go away, you bards. No, I don't want no bards. You see, sometimes you have a ton of petitions going on for your people. It's amazing. Sometimes there's almost nobody here, and the amount and the type of people trying to migrate into your fortress is a lot about the environment of yours, you know. Alrighty, so we need to make lye first. So here we go. And lye, as you see here, needs ash. That's why we first need to make ash. But the ash is not being made at the ashery, as much as it might fool you to think that. No, it's made at the wood furnace. You know, just the little things. That's why we're going for that. So, my hunter is probably dying against an elk bird. None of my business. None of my business. They knew what they were getting themselves into. So, now we have that ash, and now we can make lye. There we go. Lye is one kind of stuff that we require, and here now we need more materials. So, one other material we require now is either oil or tallow. We're going to go for tallow. So for the acquisition of tallow, we need to slaughter an animal one more time. So, well, we got a lot of yak calves back there. So, well, I don't want to kill off too many of these. So let's take that guy here. So, now we have a butchering job. And here it is quite important for the soap making that things are going correctly there. So we have the lye. That's 1/2 of the equation. And as you see here, it takes a while for a untrained dwarf. And now we have in that bucket here some lye. This is the basic material that we got there. And now we got the animal slaughtered, and here there's fat. Fat is what we require for our next operation. So at the kitchen now, there will be soon a new job for processing that fat. This here, render fat. And as you see here, I didn't do anything. This is because that job has been put into the schedule automatically. Now the next step is really important. The moment the fat has been rendered into tallow, that's the moment where you need to act. As soon as that save file thing is done. And we better look up what that super angry dwarf is meaning there. Probably the guy that wanted to create an artifact, but this is usually something you should look after, you know? Probably also the stage before. Anywho. Come on, save file. That saving of the game is really taking insanely long. Alrighty, so now we, lavish meals being prepared, okay. And, well, I haven't found any other way to do it yet. So that's, in case you're wondering, Icon, what are you doing here? Why are you ogling that thing here like that? So, let's see, render fat needs glob. So I bet that the stuff has been just hauled away and has been not available in the at the very moment. Here we go. So it just jumped out of the situation because it was being hauled back and forth. So now he's finally doing it. It's going to make sense in a hot minute, I promise. So the moment the fat has been rendered into tallow, it's really important that we pause the game and get into the labor menu, because here we have one big problem yet again. Our kitchen is trying to hawk that stuff away from us. So yak tallow, as you see here, we need to forbid that for cooking purposes. Otherwise, the kitchen will grab that stuff and it's going to be an issue. So yeah, the elves are here and they are telling us that we've taken too many trees. Yeah, I heard that before. It's typical. The elves will ultimately tell you to stop cutting so many trees, but more about that later. So now we got the tallow. And of course, the tallow is not being accessible now because it first has to be hauled around. And as soon as the tallow has been successfully hauled around, we can access it. Promise. Because now we have everything done that we need to do. So now we can create ourselves some soap. And basically, whenever we create new lye, we can now create more soap because the tallow we got from the yaks will now be exclusively laid back for the production of soap. So technically, you are now in the clear, simply because one bar of soap has like 150,000 usages or so. I'm not over exaggerating here. The gist of it is that with just one bar of soap, you can staff out an entire hospital, you know? But by all means, you can also, of course, make more of these. It's up to you. But the most important thing now is being dealt with. Our hospital now is receiving some soap. And that means whoever is being treated here, that lowers the risk of infection by a lot. And you now know how to make soap. The other way how you could make soap, by the way, if you don't want to go the butcher way, the oil-based way, is by pressing some oil out of rock nuts first, and you have to, if I remember correctly, you need to mill them first into paste and then press the oil out of there. You will need a jug for that, though, to store the oil beforehand, and the tallow method is much simpler, you know? It's much simpler. But the oil method is more sustainable if you want to create huge amounts of soap. But enough about that. We are pretty much where I want to be with the hospital. Looking neat, doesn't it? The only thing it does miss now are traction benches. So if you want to be super paranoid, you're going to put the traction benches in there, into the rooms. If you are less paranoid, you are going to put them in the main room. It's up to you. And why are they not being made? I ordered these ages ago. So what's up here? I really don't know. So the carpenter has gone berserk, and as you see here, it was a wise choice to go for it like that. Elven caravan has arrived. I don't give a damn about that. So, a cat has adopted a dwarf. Yeah, I didn't misread that. It is just like I said. So, cats adopt dwarves. Yeah, that's just how it works. The moment a cat has adopted a dwarf, you cannot butcher it anymore because it's a pet now. So, good. The hospital is now working. The only thing that I want to do here now is I want to dig myself a cistern, because, you know, I love to have my own water in my fortress. To do so, we're going to dig out a little bit of a room here that will do the trick for us. I hate the fact that we got a gremlin in the fortress, but I cannot do anything about that for now. These guys are stealthy, and, well, alright, maybe, yeah, well, he's skulking around. The moment he's going to enter my base for real, we're going to smack him. The problem about gremlins is just that they can randomly flick switches, and therefore, you know, you can really get yourself into trouble with a gremlin. They're just made to perpetrate high security systems, and I really like that. I really like what they do, like gameplay idea-wise. Okay, so next step for our cistern, we are going to drill down a staircase just that deep. It's annoying because we're going to get a lot of warnings now. Yeah, here, damp warning. We got to get through that. So let's see. There we go. One more. So this is going to be the water supply for the fortress. Therefore, it's really, really important to have that. So now we won't go deeper than that. So the next step is we're going to start and dig channels here. And that's, by the way, the reason why I have put up a staircase here. So these little goofballs are not going to risk anything deadly here while doing so, you know. This way, whenever they get something into some stupid situation, they can't just staircase out of that. I've really fallen in love with that method, so to say. So this is the last layer. Don't go deeper than that, otherwise you're going to be in the next level. And well, there we go. So there's the last things being done. So you might ask yourself now, Icon, why did you do that so many levels deep? The thing is, if your cistern is only 1 Z level deep, you will have access to mud-laced water. And mud-laced water, you know, that's yet another infection risk. So now I'm removing the last of these ramps, and now we got ourselves a nice water source in the future as soon as that has been filled up by the aquifer. Since this is all aquiferous rock around us, this will ultimately fill up and will become an accessible source of water. It will take a while though until it reaches that spot. We now put a floor plate on top of that staircase just to make sure that nobody accidentally stumbles down there and drowns. You know, you can be never sure. Sometimes dwarves just die because they are silly goofballs, but that just helps. Fresh wave of migrants has arrived, and you remember what I learned the other day? Yeah, whenever migrants arrive, just wait until the population number ain't rising anymore. That means that they all have checked into your fortress, and then hit your local pasture and check if they brought any pets that need to get pastured there. Otherwise, they'll starve. So, just like I thought there was not enough time yet again to bring up the library, I'm really sorry for you guys if you were waiting for that. But we're going to make that happen next episode, promise. The whole hospital thing took a while longer than I thought. So, 114 people we are by now. So that means we ought to get ourselves some new housing here. Because I bet we don't have 140 apartments by now. I really do bet that. So, my dear friends, I'm going to take some time in between this and the next episode to dig out some housing area and floor it out, you know. You guys surely will forgive me for doing that off camera. I'm pretty sure you're not that keen to see that. Okay, anyway, that's a good point to end today's episode. I'm just plotting down some digging plans while I'm talking. So my friends, I hope you found that all helpful. Those hospitals are super important because otherwise your dwarves will just die from the most ridiculous of injuries. So use them. And the whole soap making process, yeah, I know it is a little bit painful and is a little bit annoying, but like I said, 1 bar of soap is all your entire hospital requires. 2 or 3 bars of soap will get you through all you require, and therefore consider it a one-time effort if it really annoys the hell out of you. Just like that. Anyways, thanks for watching, my friends. If you know why I wasn't able to fulfill that strange mood, let me know, because I certainly don't know. And yeah, comments are in any form welcome. Leave me a thumbs up on that video to make it more visible for the rest of YouTube. You know, the algorithm just needs that. And of course, if you want to support the channel, all you need to do is hit that subscription button, and it's already a big support. Apart from that, hit the bell thing if you want to stay notified with all the daily releases I do. And check out the playlist things in the description box. I did a beginner's tutorial series, smaller tutorials, all manner of different things. I'd be delighted if you'd check them out. Either way, have a wonderful day, my good sir or lady, and have a good time playing, and see you soon.